Hi there, my name is Eric Helms, and this is an audio abstract for our recent publication in the Journal of Strength Conditioning Research, RPE and Velocity Relationships for the Back Squat, Bench Press, and Deadlift in Powerlifters. This research was conducted at AUT, that's the Auckland University of Technology, along with a partnership with FAU, Florida Atlantic University, and Dr. Mike Zerdos there. Essentially what we did was we looked at the relationships of average concentric velocity and repetitions in reserve based RPE in powerlifters performing the big three, their competition lifts. So we had nationally qualified New Zealand powerlifters work up to a 1RM on the squat, bench press, and deadlift, in that order, performed to the competition standards of the IPF, the International Powerlifting Federation. We gave the lifters 3 to 5 minutes rest between attempts. They could choose where they wanted to fall in that range for their rest period, and then a mandatory 5 minutes between lifts when they switched from the squat to then the bench press and subsequently the deadlift. We had a standardized warm-up consisting of bodyweight dynamic exercises, and then we moved into the specific warm-ups for each lift. This consisted of 8, 5, and then 3 reps at low percentages of 1RM, and the option to do some warm-ups with the bar and lighter weights prior to that. And then where we really started collecting data, specifically RPE and velocity, was when we did a single repetition at 80% of 1RM, or estimated 1RM I should say, and then 90% of 1RM before we then made specific individualized adjustments working towards a true 1RM that session. The way we estimated 1RM to determine how we would do our build-ups was we conferred with the athlete, and we had them look at the recent training logs, and we looked at the recent competition results, and we got the best estimation we could of what they thought they were capable of that day for a 1RM attempt. And that's what the 80% was built off of, as well as the 90%. After they completed the 90% of 1RM, or their estimated 1RM, this is when we used the data from the GymAware, which is a linear position transducer, which basically measures displacement and velocity so that we can get the velocity of the barbell, and also the RIR-based RPE. RIR stands for repetitions in reserve. RPE is a rating of perceived exertion. And myself and Dr. Zerdos, we've collaborated to do a number of studies specifically on the RIR-based RPE scale. This is an RPE scale specific to resistance training, and instead of being based on subjective determinants such as very hard, moderately hard, or easy, it is based on repetitions in reserve, meaning the number of repetitions a lifter believes he could perform or she could perform if they continue to set until failure. The number of RIR, repetitions in reserve, corresponds to the RPE, such that a 10 RPE is 0 repetitions in reserve and no additional weight could be added to the bar. A 9 RPE is 1 RIR, an 8 RPE is 2 RIR, a 7 is 3, and on downwards in that fashion. They can also rate a 9.5, 8.5, or 7.5, and these basically indicate a lack of surety around how many more repetitions they could perform. So a 9.5 means I don't think I could perform one more repetition. However, I do think I could have done maybe an additional 1, 2, 2.5 kilos for the same number of repetitions. An 8.5 RPE means 1 to 2, and a 7.5 means I think I could do 2 to 3 more repetitions. After that, the range broadens for the mid-level RPE ranges of 5 or 6 RPE means between 4 to 6 additional repetitions, and then between 1 and 4 is using a subjective determination of either light effort or very light effort. So once they got into these heavier loads and they were doing their singles at 80 and 90% of estimated 1RM, and then their actual attempts at their 1RM, we recorded an RPE after each attempt. And also, we got a velocity rating from the GymAware. We used the velocity rating, the GymAware, and then conferring with the participant to determine what the attempts should be building up to their best shot at a 1RM. Myself and some of the other data collectors are experienced powerlifting coaches, so we were able to get pretty accurate determinations of where we thought the lifters could go to, and of course the lifters themselves were competitive powerlifters, so they were quite good at attempt selection and were able to keep both their egos in check and also not to be too conservative, so we did a pretty good job of getting the most out of them we could on that day. So specifically, we recorded velocity, or the way we recorded the 1RM was that either they reported the 10 RPE, at that point we concluded that lift and moved to the next one, or they would make a jump in load and miss an attempt. So for example, let's say they did a 230 kilo squat and they believed that that was a 9 RPE, and they felt very confident in moving to a 237.5 kilo squat. If they missed that, they would be stuck, you could say, at a 9 RPE as their max. Now, they were given a second attempt at the missed repetition, and if they were able to get it, then we could continue if they didn't rate it as a 10 RPE. But if they missed it again, that's where the test concluded, meaning that the group of lifters could have a sub-maximal RPE even at 1 RM, which looks a little strange when you read the abstract, but basically means how close to a true max did they get. And we found that there were no significant differences between the three lifts, the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. The RPE and their confidence intervals almost completely overlapped. It was between a 9.7 to 9.8 RPE on all three lifts. However, interestingly enough, the average concentric velocities for the three lifts were significantly different from one another. The 90% confidence interval for the squat ranged from a 0.2 meters per second to 0.26. For the bench press, 0.08 to 0.11, and the deadlift, 0.12 to 0.16, meaning that when performed to competition standards, that's with a pause on the chest, the bench press was the slowest, then the deadlift, and then the squat was the fastest. Likely, we believe this has to do with the range of motion and the percentage of that range of motion that consists of a sticking region. So what the practical application from the study is that RPE is not lift specific in powerlifters. It is a useful way of gauging intensity of effort and distance from failure, and can be used as an adjunct for load selection during 1 RM attempts in testing. However, while velocity is a more objective measure of intensity, it is lift specific, and even more so when you look at the variability in individuals. You actually need to do an individual load velocity profile to effectively gauge intensity without having too much variability for practical use. So in reality, not only does training experience and the lift performed affect velocity, but there are also individual characteristics which would modify this. Perhaps anthropometry, height, things like that, maybe femur length, which are yet to be explored. But nonetheless, to effectively use velocity to program loads and to assess 1 RM, truly you do need to perform an individualized velocity load profile. So thank you very much for watching this audio abstract. I hope you took something away, and I will see you later.